Hey, what's going on, friend? Welcome back to another replay cast. We're gonna be finishing off this little mini series here between Rich in the bottom right and Taengu in the top left. This TVP has been pretty back and forth. We've got 1 point on the board for each participant. They don't even know that they're participating in this little series that I've found. They're just playing some random ladder games, having a blast, practicing for the future, sharpening their skills here, and blazingly fast, by the way. Good God, 600 APM. I don't know how anyone plays at 600 APM. I don't even know what you are looking at when you're playing that fast. I don't know if he's darting his screen back and forth like crazy. We don't have that feature in replay format. If I was watching, I think if you're watching like as an observer, you can see that, but just in a replay, you can't see that. And you know, maybe he's using his F hotkeys. I don't know if those even register as actions though. Do they? That might actually register as an action. I'm not 100% sure on that. I think the APM numbers have evolved over time, like what they include and what they don't include. But I'm a little bit confused about what actually is put in there, because it seems like almost every move that you make is added in, and if not, that's kind of crazy to be at 600 and it's only like you know, actions that are actually affecting the game. I think it's everything you click and every hotkey you press, but maybe not the F hotkeys, because those are just moving your screen. I'm not 100% sure now. Taengu, this time he's not going to go for a gaseous fast expand here. He's decided on La Campanella. It's better to just go for a more standard build. Likewise, Rich has decided to open up standard as well. No Nexus first here, although it would have been pretty strong from this position, considering we are cross map here, and La Campanella is a pretty sizable map. It's a map that's still being kind of worked out by the pro players right now. It's not completely figured out just yet, but it's starting to come together here. And it's turning out to be a pretty decent map with some interesting games being played. We've got a command center being thrown down now. No bunker just yet. It's going to get the SCV in here. But right as the Dragoon pops out, so he's not going to get much scouting information. He might be able to see these spinning cybernetics core though, and that's pretty much all you need. And yeah, he will see that. Also a vulture, or a zealot running in here. Ooh, the zealot actually glitching out by quite a lot. Not actually getting much damage there at all with that. Gonna focus down at the marine. Just dealing as much damage as he can with that marine. Another marine gonna pop out here. He's gonna repair that vulture, but the vulture does go down, so pretty decent. 3 marines and a vulture for 1 zealot and some hull damage. Decent job here by Rich, who's now just gonna sit out here in the front and wait for his range to finish. He's got to be very careful with this Dragoon though, of course. I mean, that Dragoon alive is gonna be real important here. If it does get picked off by a single tank shot, maybe it takes 2 tank shots now. I think maybe 2 tank shots can finish that off. You don't want to be sitting there, you know, hitting that bunker and lose a Dragoon. You want to keep as many of the Dragoons alive as possible here. They just have so much value in the mid game. They're so important for holding off timing attacks from the Terran. They're also incredibly important for stopping things like drops and also clearing out mines later on. Ooh, gonna dive on this tank. I didn't expect him to do it, but he did go for it. Had there been any focus fire on this low HP Dragoon, Taengu could have shot that down, and then it would have been a lot more volleys to actually kill that tank. But with 3 Dragoons, he 3 shots that tank. He picks that off. And now he can fall back. He didn't even lose a single Dragoon. So actually Rich just doing so well right now. Great target fire on that Vulture as well. Amazing micro here from Rich. Good God, that was really, really good. Handled the push out here from Taengu nearly perfectly. Very nearly perfectly. Actually, what else could he have done better? I'm not sure. He's got every single Dragoon alive. Look at this. 12 HP, 24 HP. Yeah, that's about as perfect as it gets. Taengu waiting with an SCV here. He wants to know when the third base is coming down. And it's actually going to be right now. Going to set up this pylon wall here. Sees that SCV. Just going to deal with that with the probe. No big deal. Should be throwing down the Nexus here in a moment. First few vultures are out here on the map, just throwing down some mines. And what's the follow-up going to be? It's going to be Reaver again. So Rich really favoring the Reaver in this matchup. I can't blame him. It's a very, very good unit. But it feels like Terran players are really starting to figure out how to defend it properly. We'll see if it can get any damage here in the mid game. The tank count has been reduced pretty significantly. He's lost the first couple of tanks here. And the vultures have been reduced as well. He's got this observer. He could jump on the tank again. Might get another one. He does. Oh my God, that's so painful. Gunning down a vulture as well. Rich really controlling perfectly in this early game. Doing an amazing job of getting value out of these Dragoons that he's managed to keep alive. It's like one Dragoon. Oh no, where's that damaged Dragoon? Okay, both of them are back at home, just kind of chilling in this wall. Very nicely. He's gonna drop over the wall here and make sure that no command center can get thrown down. He might also go back and get his Reaver as well to kind of bolster this position. And that way he can come around the back here with a bunch of Dragoons and start shooting Reaver shots over here as well. That's going to be a bit of a headache for Taengu here. We'll see if he gets a tank in a good spot to actually hold this off. But if there's a couple of Zealots, and yes, there are a couple of Zealots, he can even drop the Zealots on the tanks, kind of clear them out a little bit, and open up a really big position back here with which to use the Reaver and really delay that mining. This is going to be harsh. This is going to be rough for Taengu here. I can already feel like from the way that Rich has been controlling today, how he's been handling his units, his Dragoons and his Reavers and everything, he is really on top of his game right now. You can tell why he's number 3 on the ladder. I actually just checked today. He's dropped down to like number 6 or 7, something like that, but he's still very, very high, always in that top 10. At least in this current season. Now coming into the main, here are some mines ready for the defense. But he's gonna get a shot off here. Oh, good, dealing some damage to that Reaver. I was really not expecting him to come into the main here. Yeah, there you go. There's the one turret and the one tank. Just as I described in the last cast, this is a really strong defensive tool here for Terran. This is a great combo, and putting mines at the edge of your base does do a lot to discourage these Protoss players from trying to deal damage with their Reavers. Drops a Zealot, gets rid of that SCV, but is going to be forced away here. I thought this was going to be harder to hold, but Taengu has been really proactive now, getting his turrets and tanks towards this back area here. 3-base mining's looking good right now for Rich. He's gone to 6 gateways, but we're gonna see more added on here soon. Needs to get at least 8 to 10 now with these 3 bases. He will be going for that Templar Archives once again, so favoring this style quite a lot. And I like it. The Templar style with drops is crazy, crazy good at punishing Terran. Especially when they're trying to walk through choked up positions like ramps like back areas like this. And you can even get huge damage with it as a secondary option if you happen to be able to sneak in with some Templar drops. You can wipe out an entire mineral line. It does even more damage than a Reaver, of course. If the SCVs are not pulled in time, one storm will just wipe this out. So gonna get one shot here with the Reaver. Oh, really good shot there. I did not think that that could actually curve around these mineral patch. I thought this turret was actually maybe gonna stop that from happening, but he got an excellent hit there. He's gonna come in and bait some damage onto these Dragoons in order to get one more shot. Does get a couple more SCVs here. Loses the Dragoons though. Meanwhile, an attack over here towards this potential fourth base from Taengu. That's a lot of Zealots. Dragoons are gonna get in here as well. He's gonna take out these tanks. Really nice, timely attack here from Rich to shut down this command center. And Taengu has been a victim of this quite a bit in this series, just not lifting off the command center and abandoning the position in time. Had when that attack came in, he lifted off and floated away immediately. He still would have lost the fight, but he would have kept the command center alive. And that could have given him a better position here, because we saw how badly things went last game when the third base got... actually, it wasn't the third, it was the fourth that got denied. And having the third denied is even worse here. It's very, very painful. He's losing more tanks. He will clean up all the Dragoons eventually. But we're going to lose some more Vultures in the process. We're going to lose maybe another tank or two. Oh god, he's not even using the tanks right now. He really needs to get over here and clean this out. Losing way too many Vultures right now. And another command center being built. He will eventually take this third. But look at this. Doing exactly the same thing as last time. Rich knows exactly what to do. He's denied that base. So he's going to build Templar. And he's going to take a base... another main. I mean, the top right's going to be the choice. And let's see if he goes carrier again. It's not really typical to go Templar into carrier, but as we saw previously, it can be really powerful with both of those tools at your disposal. Almost impossible to engage that army. There's also the potential for counterattacks always with the Protoss army. You can just go around your push and deal massive damage with the army while the carriers kind of hold back the attack. Not going to be as easy on this map because it's actually a lot easier if you push into the natural here, Astarion, and you kill these eggs and set up tanks here. It's a lot easier to push into the main. You can bring your tanks in here, support them from the other side of this wall, bring the tanks in and really like clean out these gateways pretty quick and efficient. You don't need to walk up a ramp. We'll see if that comes to pass here. The command center for the third base finally down at 14 minutes. That's brutal. So late here is this third base from Taengu. He's been delayed incredibly heavily by this Protoss player, and there's a Stargate in production, so maybe he will be switching into carriers here a little bit later. The next base here from Rich has been set up in the top right hand corner, and probes have been transferred. Plenty of cannons over here to hold off any Vulture harassment in this location. Looks like he's actually attacking something. Okay, we had a storm drop. Got 4 kills here. Guess I missed that. Maybe put a picture-in-picture there. But coming in with these Dragons, just trying to clear out some mines. Making sure that the position here from Taengu is solid, and it's looking very strong. That is a ton of mines here. And with this position held, you've got 3 bases pretty much buttoned up here as the Terran player. There's the fleet beacon and 2 more gates here, but we just saw the scan. Taengu is completely well aware of this. Charon booster immediate upgrade. That's the first upgrade you need to get when you see the carrier's transition, because that upgrade does take a very, very long time. So he's going to be waiting for that upgrade to come through. Meanwhile, still pumping out some vultures. And he'll be switching into that Goliath production here pretty soon. There's still just a massive army for Rich, who's actually kind of maxed out right now. Can't really produce carriers at the moment. Instead, he's just going to take this big fight with Taengu as he moves forward. Oh my goodness, that's so much protoss here. And a great storm there in the middle. Not a lot of tanks here. They're kind of spread out towards the back, but not much zealots left over, and Rich really needs to think about, oh my god, never mind. I was gonna say backing away. He's actually gonna let a lot of his dragoons die here. He did some good storms, but every dragoon went down, all except for 3. That's a huge loss here. How many gateways do you have? 4, 8, 12 gates? That's a lot. I like the base layout here though from Rich. That's really nice on the eyes. That's an easy on the eyes base layout, actually. Look at that. Kind of beautiful, really. Counterattack's going to come through here from Taengu. He knows he has to kind of get something done right now. Going across the map and rallying just purely with Goliath's probably going to be the call, although seems like we don't have carriers just yet. Only 3 gonna pop out here shortly. Doing a good job dragging some mines here. Gonna get another good storm. Killing off these tanks is huge. More reinforcements coming up for Taengu. Needs to pick off some more of these Templar here. Limit the number of storms right now that are available. And yeah, Taengu gonna continue to push forward now. He can send a small contingent over here while mining up this front base and just encroaching on this position. Another load up in this shuttle. Gonna drop zealots all over this. Vultures here. Gonna get stormed. Beautiful storm here from Rich, clearing out a lot of this. But more and more vultures reaching the front here. Taengu really rallying hard right now. Managing to get to the front line and continue to push his tanks forward. Do we have any other resources here that we can send to the front line? 1 tank right there. He really needs to make this attack work right now. More units pouring out from the top right now as well. Tank number is so low at this point. Another great storm here in the center of all these vultures. The vultures are really the linchpin of this defense. The tank here providing that supporting fire to hold back the dragoons. Few Goliaths are being added on now, sent forth with this attack. Here comes some more tanks as well popping forward. I think that Rich can actually break this position though now. There's only 1 tank here. Oh, nice. He can actually hit over this wall and kill off these dragoons here and push forward. Here come the carriers now. Not too many interceptors in each one though. Interceptor count very, very low, but really Rich hasn't lost anything of significance yet. He hasn't lost this base. He hasn't even lost his natural. He can't mine from here. But his carrier count is growing. He's got Templar. He's got Dragoons to fight. I think he needs to move over here and maybe take out this army with his carriers if he can. Still a lot of interceptors being made, so maybe not the right choice to attack yet. He's going to clear out this tank. And with the tank being killed, he can get his Dragoon army out on the map. So the containment here not going to be a thing for much longer, dropping down the probe count by quite a lot. And he's actually going to send another army contingent up to the top right at the same time. There's not too much over here, just a few solitary dragoons to try and defend this location. Army group going to move out in the middle though, and the carriers are going to deal with these Goliaths and tanks while the rest of the ground army moves over towards this top right. Rich supply blocked right now. He can't actually build anything because he's lost so many pylons. Gonna come from the back here, hitting from the rear. Great upgrades right now on Taengu. Not the greatest on Rich, but he's continuing his upgrades for his air army and hitting this from multiple sides, so he will finally clear that out. His carrier count has grown here up to 6 carriers. He's got one very low HP carrier. He has to be careful with that, not to lose that carrier here. And he's lost one base, but he's still got multiple mining bases. He's mining here, and he's mining here, which means he can continuously produce his interceptors. Carriers are moving around the bottom side of the map. They actually need to be up here to defend right now. Templar moving out with their storms. Should be able to blanket those all over this incoming force right now. Kind of throwing away a lot of storms, though. And the carriers are not really doing what they're supposed to, which is defend this top right-hand corner. He's going to move them instead to maybe go for a counter-attack here. I'm not sure how I feel about this. Feels like Taengu going to come out a little bit in the lead with this exchange. He's gonna lose these gateways. He's gonna lose this nexus and all of these probes. And then the counterattack here might be enough for Taengu to hold this off. He's actually sending all his Goliaths over towards the top right, which is not good. He needs to get his Goliaths back home to deal with this attack. And actually, he's got nothing mining here. He really needs to lift off and start a new mining base. During all of this attacking, Taengu really hasn't grabbed any other future bases. He hasn't secured his future here. And he's going to lose his command center pretty darn quickly. And now the carriers are in a position with the ground army that won't be broken easily here. Taengu not mining at all. The supplies are very similar, but these carriers are going to make a world of difference here, killing off so many tanks. Tanks just going down like crazy. He's targeting them one by one. He loses one carrier, but it's not a big deal here. There's no money coming in from Taengu right now. He's got nothing on the income side of things. And Rich can just continue to sit here and kill SCVs right now. One base mining right now here for Rich. It's enough to keep producing interceptors, though. The interceptor count is already pretty high here. Has 8 interceptors on a lot of these carriers. He's going to move forward, start to pick off some tanks, start to pick off some Goliaths. Every kill here is huge. Dropping the Terran supply lower and lower. They were even on supply just moments ago, and now a 40 supply advantage here for Rich, despite him not really building any units. I guess a few units popped out here, but he's really mostly focused on building interceptors. Some tanks are going to move across the map, but they're going to be met with a pretty significant force here, which should be able to stop them. More carriers coming out here. I think that Rich has done it. He's managed to win this game and take out the #1 Terran player on ladder. Once again, he's probably going to win this series here as the carriers chase back these tanks. One final desperate defense here going to be set up by Taengu. He's mining off of one base right now, but there are storms coming in. They're going to be blanketed down on these Goliaths. The Goliaths were really the last hope for Taengu to try and hold on here. He's going to get one carrier, but it's just not enough. There's still... what is this? 7 carriers left over. And he's gonna gun down that command center. GG is called. Taengu taps out. Another brutal loss there for Taengu. He was doing a pretty decent job holding on against everything, but trying to push out and take that third base without defending it fully. Rich gonna take advantage of that. He killed that third command center, and when you lose your third command center, it's incredibly hard to win a game. A lot of Terran players will just say, screw it. After losing the command center, go for a 2-base all-in, and that might have actually been the call in that game, because going back and making another third and retaking that base and setting all of that up and waiting for the late game to actually push across the map played straight into the hands of Rich here, who immediately took another main base and went for carriers. And guys, I gotta say it again, I don't know why Protoss players don't always do this. If you win any sort of fight in the early game, reset the tank count, just take another main and start that transition. You know, start getting the upgrades, get a couple of Stargates. You don't have to really build off of them, but you force decisions out of the Terran player that are very uncomfortable, and you can force that late game as well. You force that that ultimatum that in the late game you are going to have kind of an insane, unbeatable carrier force that will eventually overcome. So the Terran player has a clock on them for what they have to do. They have to move out eventually before that carrier count gets too desperately high to get into a position where they just can't fight anymore. And Rich seems to be a master of forcing Terrans into uncomfortable position. And guys, this has been an awesome series here. Really cool to watch the top ladder players right now and how they are performing in their element. That's it for this series, guys. Rich takes it away, and I'll see you guys in the next video.